You know, there is a lot of people that didn't believe me when I drew conclusions that the United States had their eyes set on Canada. And whether if they controlled it through a political party such as Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party, or controlling us through economic pain, such as the tariff war, or I guarantee you this upcoming July, the CUSMA punishment that's coming, or eventually a physical attack. Now you have Mark Carney openly discussing to the public
close ties to America have become our
how
weakness,
we have to defend ourselves
correct
against the aggression of the United States. And then he has that small figurine of a British general he gives credit to saving Canada.
We wouldn't have a country.
I don't think Mark Carney knows his history. He's an amazing man. He's an amazing economist, but he doesn't know a lot about history, I guess. That general didn't save Canada. It was First Nations that saved Canada. First Nations are the only reason why this country remained a country, because all First Nations banded together with that man, and it's the First Nations that intimidated the American general to giving up and surrendering. Well, anyways, past that. Now is the time to prepare, spend less, adjust your lifestyle, because the harsh reality is harsh economic times are coming in Canada. And there's only so much an intelligent man like Mark Carney can do. There still will be economic hard times. Don't get me wrong. Pain is still coming, and it's on its way. The United States is already negotiating their CUSMA agreement with Mexico, and they haven't even started with Canada. But we've always known, those who follow geopolitics and follow all the meetings and the hearings and all the negotiators, know that the United States has no interest in negotiating. They want to put strict conditions to bypass and control our economy, such as Pierre Poilievre wants us to bend the knee to the United States. And that means, and this is what the United States wants, it wants total control of our dairy industry in Canada. That'll mean hundreds of thousands of jobs and farms and cattle farmers would go bankrupt in Canada, because there's no way we can compete with the United States in that sector. Their businesses will outrun and bankrupt all the businesses in Canada. Number two, the financial institutions. If you have recently invested in a bank, or you're part owner in a Canadian financial institution, well, part of the things that they want, the United States negotiation team wants, is access to Canadian financial institutions and be able to compete in the Canadian business sector. Well, the American banks have a huge economy, and there's no way our Canadian banks can outcompete American banks. So all our Canadian banks will cease to exist. Same thing with telecommunications. They want a majority of our telecommunications to be American. So everything that you're consuming will all be American. So there'll be nothing left that's Canadian. Essentially, we'll be a satellite state. Call ourselves Canada, but we would be the 51st state, both economically and through media and news. And then we got guys like Pierre Poilievre trying to say, oh, we got to make a deal. That shows you who Pierre Poilievre is actually working for. And it's certainly not for the Canadian government. It's certainly not for his constituents that are Canadian. It's for American businessmen and probably the American government. Now, I'm just assuming that, but this is a common tactic of the United States. You infiltrate a political party within a country, and then you influence it, and then you fund it and support it. The second way they try to take control over your country is then they give you financial economic pain, which is what's common now. And the last step would be try to isolate us from trade with other countries and eventually military posturing. But Canada is getting ready. As you can see right here in the video, we've got a record amount of young men signing up for the military. Canada
being made
strong.
the 51st state.
Canada will always be Canada and Canadian
They want to see
owned.
Canada remain secure and sovereign.
Anyways, that's my take. You stay deadly.